Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Om Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha. Shri Uma Maheshwara Swamine Namaha. Om Divalingaya Namaha. Urdhvalingaya Namaha. Anandalingaya Namaha. Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 7th of March 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Paramatma, residing in the heart of every single being. The mystery of consciousness. How amazing is that? This is Advait Vedanta is so tremendous because it is giving us a direct pathway into absolute freedom. That is called Swatantrata. So there are two words that we have said before, Paratantra and Swatantra. Paratantra means dependency. That if Sachin gets this, if this happens, then I'm happy, then I'm this, then I'm that. Of course, there is some validity in that also. Nonetheless, there is the state of Swatantra. Swatantra meaning one has reached a state of great internal freedom from the binding in the waking state, the dream state, the deep sleep state. The binding is not there anymore. This is amazing. This is what Advait Vedanta is aiming towards, the Upanishads, all of them. The binding, the removal of that binding. What is that binding? At what levels is that binding? In which way is it? Well, we are bound by sense objects. Let's just stay with that for a moment. To not be bound by sense objects is to be able to interact with all five of them, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Ras, Gandh, through the five senses, to be able to interact with them without the interaction binding the individual to those objects. Is it possible? Just picture, for example, Bhagavan Krishna. Just as an example, right? Bhagavan Krishna is having a meal with you. Whatever it is. He's having, let's say, khichdi and some yogurt. Khichdi chas in Gujarati we say. Simple, right? Very, very simple dish. Khichdi chas. Acharya khichdi or chas. He's having that in... Sachin is having it, and next to me is sitting Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Just picture this point. Actually, he's actually there in human form like we are. Bhagavan hi hai, saath mein hi hai. What's the difference? We both have the same, the exact same experience. Sachin says, this is nice, I like it, this and that. Okay. Krishna says, this is also very nice, it's very good, all that. Even the same statement is made. What's the difference? The difference is that Krishna is not bound by the experience. And Sachin here in sadhana, if I'm still not a siddha, then in this state of sadhana, there is the binding. The binding is what? I like this, I don't like this is too hot, this is that, whatever. The I and the me and the likes and the dislike, this is all going on still. Is that not going on in the enlightened being? Like Bhagavan Krishna, is that not going on? What is going on over there? It's the same experience. The experience he's also having. But the mind is not involved in the experience through its dualistic entanglement. That's the difference. That's what the Gita is teaching us. Gita is not telling us to run away from life and run away from responsibility, run away from family, run away from experiences. No, it is not ever teaching us that. Not at all. Of course, there are sadhanas where people go off and become sadhus and all that, but that's a special path to try to reach enlightenment. That's that. But the Gita is not teaching that to do that necessarily. I mean, if somebody does that, that's fine. That's another subject altogether. What the Gita is teaching is to be able to live in the frame of day-to-day experiences without dualistic entrapment, dualistic, what is the word I'm looking for? Without the ahankar that is at the root of the dualistic divisiveness. That's the difference. The experience is not different, but the internal realization is quite different. Different in the sense it is at a totally highly evolved state from inside. Does it mean that enlightened person does not experience what the senses are offering? No, the same experience is there. But the same, even though the same experience is there, there is not any kind of dependency on that experience for joy. See, that's very, very difficult, in life. In day-to-day life, it's extremely difficult because we are always in our human frame. There's dependency. We want to be appreciated. We want somebody to say that, oh, you look very nice, or this is very good, or this and that, right? We want somebody to appreciate who we are. We also want to have certain quality of experiences. I want this nice quality experience, and I don't like this one, but this one is like this, and it goes on. And that's the way most people live. But the realization of the Atma Tattva is so phenomenal, so tremendous, that it blows away this dualistic entanglement. And then the experience with the senses is only a Leela. That is the concept of Leela. That is the reality of non-entangled play. That is called Leela. Bhagwan Krishna Leela karte hai. Nobody says Bhagwan Krishna karma karte hai. Have you ever heard that in our Sanatan Dharma? Nobody says that. Every action, from the point of manifestation to point of leaving the body, Sri Krishna Paramatma, इनकी एक एक क्रिया जो है, that is called Leela. इसमें कोई कर्म नहीं, nothing like that. There's no binding. It is a divine play. इसको दिव्य लीला कहते हैं. दिव्य लीला. What an idea that is. It is a Leela because it is realization that the whole world is dreamlike. That's why it is to live in the world as if it is just a dream that is coming and going. That's all. But to live in the world with that realization of its transitoriness, its dreamlike nature, its lack of permanency, then the action that is performed is Leela. For example, if we are playing with a 5-year-old child, with 7-year-old child, and playing with Legos, the Legos and some small toys and small cars, and there's some big playroom. Let's say it's a huge playroom in the home, and you have these 7-year-old kids, boys and girls, are they're making these Legos and playing with those little cars and whatever toys they have now. I don't even know what they are. I'm not sure what they're having now. they're playing with those small things, right? They're taking it as if it is so real and so serious, and they're even punching each other. You took this piece and you took this piece, and you are, Sachin is 53 years old, goes inside there. And I can join them and play with them and have fun with them and also make a sad face and make a smiley face, and I can do everything just like they're doing. We do that, don't we? If we want to interact with children, we have to act like a small child. We cannot act like a professor or something like that. Aham brahmasmi ka sab sutra dete. That's not going to work. They want to play and jump and dance and roll around and do all kinds of fun stuff. But they're also playing with their toys, and they're so seriously involved in that, And then they want to be appreciated in this, and this is how children grow. But when we, as evolved adults, hopefully, are interacting with them, we may play with them and we may dance with them and we may play with this. We may make Legos and we might throw stuff at them and whatever, whatever they're doing, we'll do the same thing. But in our hearts, there's no seriousness to it. Seriousness, there's no karma in that. There's no sense that, oh my God, you did this to me. Somebody said this to me. This thing did happen. As they're crying, some of these kids are shouting and screaming, at the top of their lungs, that somebody took my piece, somebody took my card, somebody took this, and they want to, and then some of them become so sad. And is it not true? Go to any preschool, all this kind of game is going on, and this is how humanity, as it is, like those small children. The enlightened people are like the adults who go into the playground. It's an analogy. It's like that. When an awakened being or Bhagavan himself is coming into the world, into the human body, into human frame, interacting with the world, it is 100% Leela. It is a play for that individual. And it is a divine play on top of that. That is why Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, where Bhagavan Krishna appears, the entire charitra of Sri Krishna is sung. It has been sung since the time Bhagavatam was written. And it is sung in a devotional way. Log Bhagavatam ki aarti bhi karte hai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Kitna mahima hai, wo is 18th Puran. But in the 18th Puran, Krishna Bhagavan appears in the 10th canto out of the 12. There are 12 skanda. He appears in the 10th canto. And that's where the Krishna Charitra, and that Krishna Charitra is there. Janmashtami is celebrated, and the Ras Leela is described. The Panch Ras Adhyaya is there. Ras Panchadhyaya, the 5 chapters of the Ras Leela is there. There's all kinds of teaching inside there also. The entire, the manifestation and the life of Sri Krishna is shown there. And it becomes a scripture. It becomes worthy of devotion. It becomes worthy of praise. It becomes worthy of remembrance. Leela Charitra. And by remembering that Leela Charitra, and by singing that Leela Charitra, and by understanding the activity done by Sri Krishna, and of course the Updesh that he gave to Arjuna, that is in the Mahabharata, that's not in the Bhagavatam. There's also something called Uddhav Gita. That is another Gita given to Uddhavji. It is a more Vedantic Gita. So there's 2 big Gitas that are given by Sri Krishna. One is called the Bhagavad Gita. The other is the Uddhav Gita. Okay. So, to remember the charitra, that Sri Krishna did this, then he did this, then he did this, and did this. All the different events and incidences of his life. How many bhajans are there? How many songs are there? And then the interaction with the gopikas and all that. Every single action is remembered by devotees, by bhaktas. Why? Because it is divine. It is liberating. From a tattva point of view, it is a leela that occurs in such a way that when we remember that, we get liberated. In chapter 4 in the Gita, this verse is there, right? Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti ma meti sorjuna. So when we leave our body, remembering the Leela of the Lord, we are not born again. We go into the abode. Bhagavad Dham mein jate hain. The guarantee है inside the inside the Gita. The Gita and the Bhagavatam and scriptures don't say कि ये सब बॉलीवुड के एक्टर एक्ट्रेसेस की लीला देखो. Remember them. We start remembering them. We wind up in Garbhavas, Lak Chaurashi, wind up in God terrible places. कभी भी ये एक्टर्स का स्मृति कभी भी नहीं करनी. It's the most deadly thing. It can cause millions of lifetimes. निकाल देना मगज में से ये सब. Movie. See, this is the problem when watching these movies. You know, the people are in love with those actors. What is going to happen if your mind is attached to even one actor? अधोगति हो जाएगी जीवन की. कभी भी इसको, if you see it, it's a problem in watching it because it's going to be remembered. See it as a leela, see it as just as an activity. Don't keep any importance to that. You've got emotional attachment towards these actors, actresses, and all that kind of stuff that happens in any culture of the world. According to the Vedas, this will cause rebirth wherever those actors, wherever that Jivatma is. And the bhav that is there, that is where we will wind up. Bhagwan ki Leela Charitra, Ram Leela, Krishna Leela, Shiv Puran, देवी पुराण, ये सब चरित्र है, इसको याद रखना. भगवान की मूर्ति है, उनको याद रखना. चरित्रों सुनो. Don't, I mean, you know, we interact in terms of the different, whatever we're watching and whatever it might be. But if there is any emotional attachment towards that, गया काम में से. Very dangerous. बहुत dangerous बात है. Because mind is going to have all that. The Jivatma is going to want that. And the Paramatma will say, you want that? I'm going to put you right there. We wind up going next wherever is the cumulative sanskar and karma in this life. That is what will happen after we leave this body. कहाँ जाना है? We have to set the destination now. भगवान के पास ही जाना है. You want to go to some family members in the heavens if that's where they are? कहाँ जाना है? Come back into this world chasing whatever vishayas, panch vishayas, things like that. Actor के पास जाना है? किसके पास जाना? अमिताभ बच्चन के पास जाना है? Can you imagine that? Okay, somebody says, you know, I love Amitabh. Okay, you love Amitabh Bachchan. Has anybody ever said if you love him so much, wherever he's going to go, that's where you'll go too? Has anybody ever thought about that? That's exactly what will happen. जहाँ हमारी प्रीति है वहाँ ही हम जाएंगे. भगवान कृष्ण ही वहाँ कहते, if you love me, you will come to me. Those who worship the ghosts will go to the ghosts. Those who worship the devtas will go to the devtas. Those who worship the pitrus will go to the pitrus. Whoever we are in connection with, that is where we will go. We are attached to grandchildren so much internally. Love is one thing, but the entangled attachment, we become part of their family in the future. We become a small child in the grandchild's life. In that grandchild, we become a child in there, or become a dog or a cat or something like that. Is that what we want? Okay, fine. Kya chahiye? If that happens, you know, it's very difficult. Grandparents, grandchildren, all that. You get so much entanglement. Just love them and see God in them and end it right there. Otherwise, we'll wind up being born inside their family. Ante yamati hi sagati. Sachin is not making these things up. If you don't believe it, आप discuss करिए वेद व्यास जी के साथ during Guru Purnima day. उनके साथ argument कीजिए. You know, उन्होंने लिखा है ये सब कि अंते यामति सागति. वेद में लिखा है अंते यामति सागति. वचनामृत का इसमें रेफरेंस है. गरुड़ा प्रथम 14 14वां वचनामृत. कहाँ जाना है? किसके पास जाना है? I remember I'll just tell you this one small story. There was a 75-year-old Gujarati gentleman I knew in Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. You know, his first name was Bhailal. I won't go into the full name. And he was a very spiritual person, all that kind of stuff. He had a guru in Gujarat at one point. And that guru said, I know who you are. Because he was a very awakened guru. He said, you were my bird in the last life. Can you imagine this? कि तुम मेरे पक्षी थे, you were a bird and now you have come back, but because of the sanskaras and other things like that, you were my bird before and now you have come back again. I said, ये बहुत interesting बात है. Just don't act like a bird now, that's all. So this is ये सब खेल है, माया का खेल है. Nobody comes to us randomly in life. ऐसा नहीं होता, कभी भी नहीं होता. There is some connection. Not just some connection, big connection is there. And that's fine. If that's what we want, Bhagwan is not saying no to anybody. It is a cosmic law. कहाँ जाना है, क्या बनना है? भगवान के धाम में जाना है और मुक्त बनना है, बन सकते हैं. स्वर्ग में जाना है, वहाँ भी जा सकते हैं. यहाँ भी आना है, यहाँ भी आ सकते हैं. Lot of vasanas are there. Some people have a lot of greed and a lot of sexual vasanas and they just cannot think of anything. They're just deeply involved in that. No problem. Become a pig in the next life. There's a story. That's a very interesting prasang from the life of Bhagwan Swaminarayan. These are some amazing, interesting things. When Maharaj was in Chapaya, in the small village near Ayodhya, before he had gone into the forest and all that, he was 7-8 years old. He used to go to the Shiv temple every day, for darshan. And there was a great bhakta of Shiva. In the Shiva bhaktas, they make that sound like this. I don't know if you've seen that. There's a reason why they do that. That he used to pray to Bhagwan Shankar that you make me into a donkey in the next life. Lambakaran. This is an actual incident like this. He used to pray every day. Somebody asked that fellow, ये सब क्या है? People ask, people ask Bhagwan for wealth and they ask for family life and the other things like that. He said that if you make me a donkey, I can enjoy all this sexual pleasure without all the restrictions that the humanity has. इसमें बहुत बंधन है. You can just enjoy with anybody you want. Okay, तो भगवान कहते आप बन जाओ. Think about this. Actual incident like this 250 years ago. A person who is a devotee of Shankar Bhagwan wanting to become Lambakar. Hey Maharaj, Lambakaran no avatar do apo. क्या बुद्धि चलती है मनुष्य की? We don't want to criticize. Bhagwan doesn't. What Sri Krishna says in the Gita. He says, "I'm sitting impartially. I'm watching the whole game. You guys are playing this game. All the जीवात्मा खेलो और मेरे पास आना है तो आ जाओ." It is so interesting. Fascinating stuff. Okay, let's stop here for now. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Om Divilingaya Nama Urdhva Lingaya Nama Ananda Lingaya Nama Dvadesh Jyotirlingaya Nama Om Trambakam Yajame Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarkamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshi Amamritata Om Aim Brim Klim Chamundaya Viche Om Glom Hum Klim Jum Saha Jwalaya Jwalaya Jwala Jwala Prajwala Prajwala Aim Brim Klim Chamundaya Viche Jwala Ham Samlam Ksham Phat Swaha Om Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha Vame Yasya Sita Radha Shri Yasyasi Vakshasi Vrindavana Viharam Tam Sri Krishnam Rudi Chinte Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama Om Shri Krishna Tvam Gatir Mama Om Namo Narayanaya Om Hrim Swaha.